Travis Wayne Goodsell. So it's now 6 o'clock in the evening. Time to do yesterday's Trump Ice 2025 video news coverage. Trump's Armageddon Civil War against Mormons. Armageddon 2, Civil War 2. Christians, because of the creation of Christianity, with the first creed of Christianity, 1700 years ago this year, this August, destroyed the interpretation of the Jewish scriptures, turning them literal history, so that now Jesus was born in the Roman period time, and the Jews murdered him. Just stupid, seriously. But also, by turning everything into literal history, when the Christians made their Bible, they used the first creed as the judgment standard for which Jewish scriptures gets accepted and which don't. Thus, the pseudo-Pagrapha were the rejected stuff. And so the explanation as to how did Cain have descendants was rejected. Not just the Gnostic scriptures. Rejected. How dare you say that the Virgin Mary, immaculately conceived by a dove, was actually a temple prostitute? How dare you? Yeah. There are just some learning of the Jews things that Christians did not like because of their standards and values of the For Strength of Christians pamphlet called The First Creed of Christianity. To vilify idol worship and to praise idol worship with the creation of Homoousion Jesus. It means not real. You can't comprehend that you can't comprehend. Don't even try it. And so, Revelation barely made it in. It's got dragons, flying horses from outer space, total chaos and pandemonium. And if it wasn't for the first creed, turning the Gospels, as they call them, into literal histories, they then were able to justify putting in the book of Revelation, because of Revelation chapter 12, which gives you the day and the hour in the latter days of the coming of the Jewish Christ. But they're able to say, well, that's just a representation of Jesus being born immaculately during the Roman period time. Well, you ain't going to find that sign in the heavens in the Roman period time. It only happens once. That's the precision of space, the final frontier, as seen from Earth. One time per sign for all eternity. You will never find it before. You will never find it again. It happened, already happened in the latter days. And so Christianity can prove the Jews are false by simply running the scripture test. Others have failed to give the date of the coming of Jesus. Do it to the Jews. The Jewish authors gave you the date, the specific date for the coming of the Jewish Christ, and it already happened. So did the Jewish Christ show? Put it to the test. Put it to the test. The Jews may be false after all. Oh no! What does that mean for Christians and Islamists who are based upon the Jewish scriptures, just reinterpreted correctly? Nobody will run the test. Even though Christians still believe in that from Matthew chapter 7. By their fruits you will know whether the words of a prophet are lies or truth. Spirit of God versus Spirit of Lucifer, the father of all lies. So, Stanford sent me a mega comment. That's tomorrow's videos. This is very likely to be the last video for the day. Bill Maher. Being so good at his job. Triggering my emotions. Oh my goodness. So, we're starting with scriptures. Because Christians, because they, the first creed, reinterpreted the original interpretation of the Jewish authors. Therefore, it's not true. Therefore, we will know them as false by the lack of results. But Christians are one step ahead after 1,700 years. They finally figured it out. How to prove all of those false prophets false by self-fulfilling the self-fulfilling interpretations of the Jewish scriptures. It's a fallacy argument. You can't do that. But Christians are doing it. Because there are those who know that that date from Revelation chapter 12 has happened. And they've been doing YouTube videos. And they've been connecting it to Daniel chapter 7. For the 7 years of the latter days. And yet, where are they now? The time came, the time went. Where are they now? This is what they don't get. It's Jewish interpretation, not Christian. Therefore, Jesus didn't show. But yet, that's not stopping them. Because the powers that be are aware of the Jewish interpretation. They know the star dates given by the Jewish authors. And so they set everything up to have every scripture fulfilled according to Christian interpretation, not Jewish. Because they're going to destroy Christianity from off of the face of the earth, taking Islam with them. As well as the Jews, because they don't believe in the gift of seer, prophet, revelator, and translator. They don't believe that there could possibly be a Jewish Christ either. It's obvious there can't be Jesus, because he was made up. Creatio ex nihilo. Just like their interpretation of Genesis. But that gave rise to the big boom in the theory of evolution. Oh my hell. Sorry, Bill. I saw that. No, the theory of evolution is crap. The vegetation theory. It's been around much longer than that dumbass Darwin, that hater of mankind. And the Book of Mormon talks about him. Natural selection, survival of the fittest. It's all right there in the Book of Mormon being condemned. And yet Mormons embracing Christianity, not the science of the Jews. Go, see? Creatio ex nihilo of Mormon version is true. Oh wait, what do we do about the pre-Adamites? Uh-oh. Oh my hell. And so, another self-fulfilling prophecy of these secret combination Christianizers has again happened. We have already seen Ezekiel 38, chapter heading by Bruce R. McConkie, getting self-fulfilled with Russia and its invasion of Ukraine. We have seen Armageddon with all nations against Israel getting self-fulfilled by the UN after October 7th, 2023. We have seen the coming of Jesus. And nobody will admit it. He was wounded in the house of his friends. He will put his foot in Israel, the Holy Land. The Gaza Trump Resort. Exactly. Everything that Christians, aka the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has been prophesying from their self-interpretation of Scripture under the Christian interpretation of the first creed of Christianity, has been fulfilled by the second coming of Donald Jesus Trump. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. Yep. As much as Mormons are furious with me for this, when they should be furious with the church, as much as Christians are going, well, no, Trump is the vessel of Jesus to do the will of Jesus, and therefore is good even though he's a beast. Oh, the beast from Revelation 13? Yeah, exactly. But you'll still see Christians who use that about the number of the beast to apply to various other people. And so back during World War II, Christians were trying to claim that it meant Hitler, that they somehow manipulated the word and the name of Hitler to conform and comply to the Jewish Kabbalistic practice of gematria to show that Hitler is 666. And, well, he's dead. But where's Jesus? Exactly. They had to create it. And so then you see them doing it for Bush, and you see them doing it for Saddam Hussein, and you see them doing it for, I'm forgetting his name, Osama bin Laden, and then all Barack Hussein, Osama bin Laden, Obama, and Clinton, and exactly. People just throw it out. Oh yeah, I found it. 666, it's Obama. They don't care to use science on this. And they get exposed as false prophets, but yet they still get billions of followers. Oh wow, it's so true. And so now that the fulfillments have all happened, where are they now for the legitimate fulfillment? Even though it's by the self-fulfillment also. Because Trump is prophesied. Because they made him be prophesied. They specifically use the scriptures to be the villains and fulfill the villain part, because they don't expect the Jewish Christ to show. And this is where I weep for Mormons who refuse to study their scriptures. Because again, another one has happened. And Mormons don't see it. Christians don't see it. It's always me that sees it. Isaiah 49. This is what happened yesterday, fulfilled, according to the self-fulfillment interpretation of the Jewish authors by Christians. Not what even Bruce R. McConkie throws out a big old tip for Mormons. Because he doesn't make that connection for Mormons. This is the evil of this church. Let me read the chapter heading for you by Bruce R. McConkie. Remember the chapter heading by Bruce R. McConkie for Ezekiel 38? Yeah, well, this is the one for Isaiah 49. Fulfilled yesterday. Messiah shall be a light to the Gentiles. I don't see, oh, yep, there it is. Verse 6. But it won't go there. I'll just simply put, we believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly, even though this is an exact copy in the Book of Mormon. I mean, plagiarism, errors and all. Because the Book of Mormon explains this, corrects it. This is what Bruce R. McConkie is not making the connection to, even though he does say here at the end, compare 1 Nephi chapter 21. Let me continue. And shall free the prisoners. Israel shall be gathered with power in the last days. Kings shall be their nursing fathers. We have the Book of Mormon the whole time, Mormons. They footnoted it. They had chapter headings by Bruce R. McConkie. We have Bible dictionary, topical guide, indexes. and you didn't bother to study your scriptures to see that all of this is wrong and needs to be revised, and it was supposed to be revised, but they rejected a certain key person who had the Jesus card. Who fixed it all, and they rejected it. I have been going over with you 1 Nephi chapter 22, the correction of Isaiah 49, plagiarized errors and all in 1 Nephi 21. And Mormons don't believe I am attacked by the YouTube Mormon employee down in Utah County, who, again, I mean, seriously, Mormons, you all know who I am if you've been watching any of my videos and you're back on this one. And I am intending to put it again in this video for the whole day out of spite for that Mormon YouTube employee who attacked that video that was only 3 minutes long. Because again, I proved myself to Mormons. He knows, and he shut it down. And so all day today, I've been repeating that video in every single video at the beginning, giving you the notification that I am doing this on purpose as a rebellious smite for how dare you attack me. Again, put the learning of the Jews in place of Bruce R. McConkie. The Messiah shall be the light to the 1 Nephi chapter 22, and shall free the prisoners, 1 Nephi chapter 22. The house of Israel, 1 Nephi chapter 22, shall be gathered with power in the last days. For this Mormon, 1 Nephi chapter 22, to be this evil towards me, 1 Nephi chapter 22. Is unpardonable. I again showed you who I am. That there will be no debate or discussion about it because it's plain and pure and most precious. The Jewish Christ showed. He's been here the whole time. And Mormons still look beyond the mark for Jesus. When Joseph Smith made it very clear how to find him. All you had to do was study your scriptures. And all Mormons know of it, though you don't know you know. If I were to just say the one mighty and strong, you go, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, the Jewish Christ. So verses 22 to 25 is what got self-fulfilled yesterday according to Christian reinterpretation. But the whole thing is important because the whole thing is in 1 Nephi 21. Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people. The church will have you believe that it is indeed, they do TG ensign. And so in other places they make that clearer, that it refers to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that's why they called the magazine the Ensign, because of this. Now they call it the Liahona, no longer the Ensign. Nelson's making changes. He's hinge pointing. And they shall bring thy sons in thine arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their faces toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? But thus saith the Lord, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children. All flesh shall know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Did not put Israel. And so, it is important to know 2 Nephi 26, verses 5 through 8, that also covers this. But we also have other Bible stuffs about this. In Exodus 19, thus Moses, the keys of the Exodus gathering of the latter days, verse 14, verse 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Ezekiel chapter 17. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle, and speak a parable unto the house of Israel. 1 Nephi chapter 22. And say, Thus saith the Lord God, a great eagle with great wings, long-winged, full of feathers, which hath diverse colors, came unto Beirut, Lebanon, and took of the highest branch of the cedar of Lebanon, and carried it into a land of traffic, set it in a city of merchants. And then he took it to a place of great waters, and set it as a willow tree by those great waters. It ain't Florida, is it? This is the difference between the learning of the Jews and the reinterpretation by Christians. You caught on yet? Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. Oops, not Revelation 14, Revelation 12:14. And to the woman, for this I can say 1 Nephi chapter 22, Mormons, or I can just tell you Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 to 17. Note the change sequence of the verses and verse 7. Who is the woman, Mormons? Were given 2 wings of a great eagle. Are you going to believe Joseph Smith, or are you going to believe the reinterpretation of the Jews by Christians? Oh no, which do we choose? Screw Joseph. What does he know? That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time. Oh, Bruce R. McConkie has something to say about that. It must be true. Let's do it in the math for our calendar. From the face of the serpent. Tie it to Daniel somehow. Mormons, 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 Mormons. So yes, because of Iran now, there was a mass exodus on planes being taken to America with the national bird of the American eagle. To Florida, not Michigan or Western New York, but Michigan is right smack in the middle of the Great Waters. Knowing who that Jewish Christ is, I can tell you it's Michigan. I have insider information on this. Went too far. So pay attention to how it was supposed to be interpreted, as it's all been fulfilled, and yet nobody knows it, unless you've been following me. Section 103, verses 15 through 18. Behold, I say unto you, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power. Therefore I will raise up unto my people a man who shall lead them like as Moses led the children of Israel. For ye are the children of Israel, and of the seed of Abraham, and must needs be led out of bondage with power and an outstretched arm. And as your fathers were led at the first, even so shall the redemption of Zion be. Do you understand this, Mormons? I know you don't read, you just get spiritual witness feelings and never bother to read. Let's channel your education back in grade school. A Mormon in the latter days shall be the Jewish Christ. Because you, Mormons, right now are in bondage not just to Jesus, but to the great and abominable Church of Jesus, whose founder is Lucifer, which means it's not Joseph Smith's church, but somebody who Jacob did. You do know Jacob means usurper? You do know that usurper means coup? You catching on who it is, Mormons? Right here, all this time, since Brigham Young put it in 1844, wasn't it? Right after Joseph Smith died? Oh, man, I'll come back to you, dear. I'll come back to you. Got to do this hour-long introduction first for Mormons who are illiterate. Wait a minute, it should be here. There you are. 1844 edition. Sure enough. See, for some reason, Joseph Smith did not publish it in the 1835. Because it was February 24th, 1834. Revelation received after the arrival in Kirtland, Ohio, of Parley P. Pratt, Lyman White, who had come from Missouri to counsel with the prophet as to the relief and restoration of the saints to their lands in Jackson County. And so Joseph Smith explains it, and then in the middle gives a prophecy of the latter days, because what he did is to prepare Mormons for the latter day Christ, because Joseph is Messiah ben Joseph. 2 Nephi chapter 3. All right, now let's go back to you, dear. It's supposed to be you, Mormons. You are the ones who are supposed to be returned to the United States of America after being deported by Donald Jesus Trump. But we're running into some complications because the enemy, I mean true Christians, who have proved the Jews wrong about their own scriptures and scripture prophecies, self-fulfilling them, are wrong. Okay, we still need you. Why are you over there? I am so disgusted with the news since October 7th, 2023. They have lost all journalist integrity. They have failed to report the facts about the history of Islam, the history of the Jews, the modern history after World War II, and the whole plot exposed on that day by Islam that they have been planning since after World War II, when they couldn't exterminate the Jews from Israel. In the 60s, they were able to convince the world that they needed to be rescued by the big bad Islamic religion that they were a part of. And and were given refugee status all around the world and even in the United States of America. And there was a Refugee Resettlement Act passed in the 60s to bring over Islamists to America. And there are many who are here in Utah who have built up centers in Utah at key infrastructure and utilities locations in Utah. As the church from 2021 to the present have been funding Islamic terrorism and doing a pamphlet. We're just like Muslims. You mean Islam? Okay. And so refugees who come to Utah have trouble getting jobs, as all refugees do. And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints steps in, and there was the big scandal about how refugees are trying to get SNAP assistance for food, not just Social Security, because they don't have jobs. They need help. So they led people to believe. And so the church says, hey, you can come work for us. The government says, we're not going to give you food assistance. Go see the church. And the church says, well, we can't give you assistance unless you work for us. And you have to be a Mormon in order to work for us. Oh, okay. So you're giving up Islam to be Mormon. Oh, okay. So if there's anything religious, you're giving it up. Okay. Well, interesting clothing you've got on. Oh, it's cultural. Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a lot of Polynesians that play for BYU football. We know all about culture. We exploit them to do ethnic programs for us white folk who are their leaders. Just like the Brits used to do. And they put on shows and entertain us. Music of their culture. Roasting of pig, which is actually very good. I have been to several of those by the church. I know what I'm talking about, and you do too. Oh my hell. Anybody see the video recently where I talked about my mom saying she's not as racist as her mom? Did you get that far into the video? Are you there in this video? Yeah, she went to BYU, Hawaii. That was one of her claims. I'm going, what the hell are you talking about, Mom? Whites are ethnic too. But yes, she would talk about the cultural hall activities during the week about ethnics, putting on musical performances. Why do you think Mormons have their kids involved in music? just like ethnics. It's not a coincidence that the Osmonds were so popular. Oh my hell. White supremacist, Christian nationalist. Born and bred in the DNA of the Danites. So yes, there's a reason why I do these videos and I explain things to you that somehow the news forgot after October 7th. On the 16th of September 2022, 22-year-old Kurdish-Iranian woman, Mahsa Amini, say the name, they said, also known as Gina Amini, died in a hospital in Tehran, Iran, under suspicious circumstances. The Guidance Patrol, the church calls it the Strengthening Church Members Committee, the Religious Morality Police, we're just like Islam, of Iran's government. Wait, what? Government and religion are one? I do these videos and people just ignore me. No, you can't combine them together. You can't combine nationality, culture, religion, military, and the people as one. Yes, you can. They do. All of these militaries are deemed by the world as terrorists. And Islam themselves say we're all the same. The nationality, the culture, the religion, the military, the government, the people, they're all the same. Thus, all Islam are terrorists. Unbelievable. You know, if you want to see Amanpour cry, have her interview me. Because all I have to do is bring this up and crush her on her own news and humiliate her as to why she isn't covering current news on Iran correctly. They had arrested her for allegedly, no, not allegedly, they did, not wearing the hijab. Well, if it's just a cultural thing, what's the big deal? In accordance with government standards. You mean Islamic standards. The Law Enforcement Command of the Islamic Republic of Iran stated that she had a heart attack at a police station, collapsed and fell into a coma before being transferred to a hospital. However, eyewitnesses, including women, to see how they treat women, women are not equal with men. They're just like Mormons, who were detained with a mini. Oh, well, they're just disgruntled Islamists. They're hysterical. Reported that she was severely beaten and that she died as a result of police brutality. All for not wearing her underwear of the covenant path, which is also cultural, it's not religious. Oh my hell. And so when the congressman here in Utah, was it the other Lee, was driving in Taylorsville and saw the march, recorded it on his cell phone to the social media post, and everybody declared him an Islamophobe. Wait, they're free. They're refugees in America, escaping their religious persecution of the hijab wearing. But they're still wearing the hijab in the land of the free and the home of the brave, giving everyone who are refugees an opportunity for the American dream. And they're still wearing the symbol of their abusive sexual violence of bondage to their religion, bound and yoked to Allah, not Jesus of Mormons. Lest we all forget. And this sparked a massive protest of women in Iran, heard all around the world. And then October 7th happened and we all forgot about it. When Biden finally bypassed Stephen Miller's trap in Afghanistan and pulled us out of Afghanistan, what happened to the Afghani women who were being educated finally? The Taliban military and government and Islam and culture and people and nationality took over control and took away their education. The key to submitting people to your will is miseducation, right, Mormons? Sex abuse, violence. Mormons are just like Islam. Iran. Lest you forget who the real enemy is against Israel. And they blame America for helping Israel. And there are 4,000 here in Utah who have centers at key infrastructure and utilities and first responder areas. I warned you, I've been warning you. Oh, dear God. Oh my God. Did she die in vain? Maybe. Maybe. She got her own Wikipedia page. That's more than I can say. And without fail, having said that in this video, I will now get an email from some bozo, I have no clue who he is, advertising I can get you a web page on Wikipedia. I hear you don't have one. For just $500, handing over your personal financial information, I can do it for you. Oh my God. All right, let's run through this and end this video as quick as possible. So again, I have to remind you, Trump is destroying the federal government. Book of Mormon says he's going to do it. He's doing it. What do you know? The Book of Mormon is prophetic. Mormons never believed. And he's transferring authority. Anybody remember the days when I did the Final Four? To the states. And so Texas has been right there ready to go the whole time, even during the Biden administration. So Trump takes over. Texas says, we could use your help, Trump. Okay. Military to the border of Texas, shutting down the border. And then ICE helping to deport Texans from Texas. Making the news. They're leaving on a jet plane for Venezuela, El Salvador. Yeah. Because judges keep saying no. But Texas, as a MAGA state, is conforming and complying with Trump's executive orders, getting rid of everybody. And the deep state Dems are going, oh no innocent people, no, they're here legally. Not according to Trump. We all know this. The deep state Dems know this. And yet they're still deceiving their own followers into believing that Trump is violating the Constitution. No duh. He defines the Constitution now as president. He defines America first as president. He defines the flag as president. You know this. And yet, you pretend to be shocked. And so the Democrat states, Trump has to go in with force. Go into LA, go into Colorado, go into Chicago, go into New Jersey, go into New York. Because they're sanctuary states, harboring illegals. All of this was a trap being set up all these decades. The state of Utah is a MAGA state, but they're also a deep state Dem sanctuary state because of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints setting it all up to be that. Warning you of the deportation in section 119 about tithing. The church purposely brought the 600,000 plus into Utah as illegals. because Trump is supposed to deport him. So that the church can be free of all illegals under Trump's definition of what an illegal is. He's the president. He gets to define words. Bigley with his Sharpie. If you're not caught on yet, and so Governor Cox is not following the example of Texas. Instead, he is trying to be exempt from Trump's executive orders, with over 600,000 that have to go. The ICE director of Utah, his memo got leaked. Cox has handcuffed me. I'm not allowed to do my job in Utah. We're a sanctuary state. Cox now has exposed what the church is not telling him. And exposing how stupid he is and how incompetent he is as governor. Because Oaks got leaked by a little sister missionary. Sister Jessica. Clueless, and that's why she leaked it. The consequences of making Mormons stupid. And all of a sudden, Sister Jessica is the unknown hero of Mormons. And even though over 100,000 Mormons know about Sister Jessica, why are you doing this? God, Microsoft, stop it. Mormons still are clueless as to what this means. And especially don't see it in the context and how it directly applies. It's so frustrating talking with dumb people. It's like talking to an empty room. It's like being shown on your screen and being swiped away. I'm not watching that video. Church is true. We're waiting for Jesus. And so in Chiasmus, Oaks, who was not supposed to be leaked by the mission president and his wife, as the church news Friday night revealed that yes, the couples do go to the meetings together. And so Sister Marquis knows as well. She heard it. So Oaks, before everything hit the fan in 2020, except for Moses appeared and sued them. And put Holland in the hospital with the carved in stone evidence that Monday after his interview with the rabbi in Israel, in Jerusalem. He was not supposed to die yet, Travis. He's not supposed to die. Ballard wasn't either, but that was unfortunate. That Tim Ballard, he tricked him. There's a reason why they're all near death. All planned on purpose for right now. And Joseph Smith told you it was coming. And you don't believe. Oh my God. He says that 2020 is just a test for the end of the world. That he says is the second coming of Jesus. So when Oaks came out since Christmas last year, threatening you that you're going to die 5 times before Easter, this is the context you needed to put it in. You needed to put it in the context of Trump becoming president again. Because that's what happened in 2020, January 6, 2021. Hello? You 100,000 Mormons who know about this and don't know about it because you're waiting for Jesus. Just see the damage that Christianity causes to your brain? This is your brain. This is your brain on Christianity. Any questions? Only those who watched commercials in the 80s know what I'm talking about. God. He is counting on President Markey not to quote him, but if he does, he will never have a clue because he's using Christian interpretation. Bingo. And thus Sister Jessica likewise. 19-year-old girl. Which, the irony of a 19-year-old sister missionary, because of Monson changing the age, to have her go out that very year. Because if Monson didn't change the ages, she would have not gone on her mission that year in 2020. She would have had to wait for 2 more years in 2021. She would have never heard this. President Markey still would have. He would have still been called, but not Sister Jessica, who was so adorable. She posted everything from President Markey and then the Montana president that she got transferred to because of creeping death, the Exodus year. And Fox News was right the whole time that Christians self-fulfilled their self-fulfilling prophecy of the Jews. And I'm horrified that Mormons still do not catch it to this day, despite all the videos I've been doing live, when they happen, before they happen, after they happen, and Mormons still say, "No! Jesus!" To show you that I have the keys of Moses, to show you I am the seer, the prophet, the revelator, the translator. Just like Joseph. And Mormons say, "No, burn the witch." cannot help a people who will not be helped. I will not take away your agency like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints does. You are free to make your choice to seek the truth or to follow the lie. You chose the lie. And so, yes, MAGA states self-deport. Trump allows MAGA states. That's why he gives them exemption. That's why Utah is exempt. Because Utah can determine who's illegal in their state. But obviously the collateral damage of destroying the federal government has affected Utah. Mostly with the parks. Because we have the majority of federal parks in Utah who are unemployed, living in Greenland. But Democrat states, the states need to be subjected to Trump's bondage. This is the civil war that I warned you was coming. 3 Nephi chapter 7. The 3 Nephi chapter 7 says that Trump will be murdered before fully implementing the civil war in Armageddon. It was supposed to be in 2021. Oops. All authority is being transferred to the states, and the church is supposed to get their kingdom back. Anyway, the First Amendment talks about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, free to petition the government for redress of grievances, freedom to peaceably assemble. And so nobody seems to want to care about it being destroyed. Terrorism, insurrection, hate, violence, bullying, lies, protesting for terrorism, insurrection, hate, violence, bullying, and lies are not free speech, are not freedom of religion, are not freedom of the press, are not freedom to petition the government to claim you're the victim. Petitioning for grievances. Islam is a terrorist organization. All of it. And so this guy, where do I have his name? Mahmoud Khalil is a terrorist in America, protesting for terrorism. Not against terrorism, for terrorism of Islam. He's a terrorist, therefore. All the press who support Islam are terrorists. The UN condemning Israel and supporting Islam. Terrorists. You're not getting it yet? You don't have free speech in America to support terrorism, insurrection, hate, violence, bullying, lies. You don't have religious freedom to demand everyone else follow your religious standards and values. And yet, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with the religious freedom movement, have gotten evangelicals and now Southern Baptists on board with this to overthrow the Constitution, the First Amendment, to force Americans to their religious beliefs. As you are witnessing states and cities and schools posting the Christian interpretation of the Jewish commandments, teaching the Christianized interpretation of the Bible in the public school systems. Can anyone say Lucifer's plan of happiness? I'm sure this will go over well for the consequences. See, Mormons, they want to do their will. They don't want people telling them they're wicked. But then when the consequences happens for being wicked, they're not happy with the consequences. And they get upset and victimize other people who are not to blame. Because they won't admit that they were in the wrong. Right, Islam? And so, Israel bombed a nuclear power plant. And in retaliation, Iran bombed an Israeli hospital. And he had the audacity to get up in the UN and claims that they were justified. It was self-defense. Yeah, I'm not hearing anybody screaming, "How dare you, this is a human atrocity violation." But when Israel does it, yeah. And then we find out later, oh, there was a military leader in that hospital, or that school, or that refugee camp. It's because they're all the same. And so yet again, those who stayed behind in Tehran when Israel went in and bombed after giving them time to flee. Sure enough, they're in the hospital now. Oh, Israel's so big, bad, and mean. I'm blinded now. My children. Who will think of the children? You should have as their parent. This is the evil of Islam. The parents maliciously sacrifice their lives for Allah to then have their children suffer, so that the sympathies of the world go out to Islam against the victims of Islam. We already knew when the Bushes went to war against Islam that this was a tactic they use. Putting the women and children out on the front lines as shields of the military. We knew this. And yet, October 7th, and we all forgot. You see the swords on various flags, and they say peace. We're peacekeepers. We're the same, just like Mormons. You're President Nelson. We're peacekeepers. But again, the news has forgotten the first Trump administration, when Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear agreement and Putin's nuclear agreement. And both Putin and Iran went full force with those agreements ripped up. Putin had a couple of accidents and nuked all of Russia. Iran has been working on this for years, going beyond the requirements of the agreement that Trump ripped up. And so, yes, it's not a coincidence that the current reports that they're only weeks away is because of Trump ripping up the agreement. He planned all this. Because Oaks got leaked planning all this. And so for Trump to say, well, Congress has not passed my big, beautiful bill giving trillions to the military yet. So their deadline is before July 4th. And so we're going to wait a couple of weeks before July 4th for my decision on Iran. And yet, despite this, Trump is having to go into war briefings every single day. BYU Israel, don't try to fool us that it's a cultural center or whatever. It's BYU Israel. The students are back in Greece. Remember 2020? Yeah, Oaks said it was a test run. Even though it was 2023, October 7th. And so here they go again. They're still in Greece. As they did come home from Greece at one point in time because of the danger. But nonetheless, Iran is burning American flags, the people. So even though the leaders are saying the U.S. better not join Israel in attacking us, they already blame the U.S. They already have their sleeper cells in America. I think there's 300,000 in the United States, with only 4,000 in Utah, if I remember the numbers correctly. These are Iranians, not the other Islamists. And let's see. Utah had its first case of measles. Why? Why do I not worry about getting measles? And other parents in Utah worried about getting measles for their children. Why? How long ago do we need to worry about when that occurred? Notice I'm not being cyber terrorized. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? Must be just a coincidence. It's not a pattern of practice whatsoever. But we do have to wait for incompetent Google search. Not just incompetent Microsoft. I hope I can get to sleep tonight. That's one of the dangers of the extreme heat with the setting sun at the window, is that it takes a while longer for things to cool down, even though I have air conditioning. and Rocky Mountain Power refusing to go solar so that they can claim hardship. We need to raise prices because our lifestyles need to be supported. And by the way, we have to shut down power for our customers. Oh, look, there's a Wikipedia page on it, too. Oh, my God. Yeah, it goes all the way back to a paper in the British Medical Journal by two medical historians claiming that vaccines won't save anybody and that there are safety issues, vaccine failures, infringements on personal liberty, and chips in the brain controlling our body movements by AI. And so in November 2013, the Australian Vaccination Network was ordered by the New South Wales Administrative Decisions Tribunal, dear God, to change their name so that consumers are aware of the anti-vaccination nature of the group. And of course, it's been claimed as a hate group. So what about America? So the 21st century, here's the latent MMR autism fraud in the 2000s. Yeah, again, it's in 2000s we're saying here. This was after, yeah, psychologists. They're not connecting it to psychologists. Because here they have autism spectrum disorders. That's psychology, you dumbasses. Who wrote this? See, the idea of an autism link was first suggested in the early 1990s and when psychologists took over our public school systems and came to the public notice largely as a result of the 1998 Lancet MMR autism fraud, which Dennis K. Flaherty at the University of Charleston characterized as perhaps the most damaging medical hoax of the last 100 years. Because it's psychology, not medical. The fraudulent research paper, authored by Wakefield and published in the Lancet, falsely claimed that the vaccine was linked to colitis and autism spectrum disorders. Psychology! Paper was retracted by the Lancet in 2010. Oh my hell. 12 years later? But is still cited by anti-vaccine activists. Psychologists capitalized on this. In Utah especially. Oh, I needed to obtain that for the documents. Which is so disorganized. So frustrating. Because if Trump is just going to delay it indefinitely, do I go through my documents as I really need to? Put them in order? Oh, dear God. So anyway, yeah, it's all a fraud. Your kid, having been diagnosed with autism, is a fraud. And here in Utah, yeah, we have whole centers dedicated to the treatment of autism, which is a fraud. It was exposed, and anti-vaxxers pushed it on behalf of psychologists. Getting fooled by the psychologist who told them their child is autistic, and he's on the spectrum. And so if you really don't, they'll put you on the weaker end of the spectrum. You're not supposed to be cured. Psychology can't cure you, they'd lose money. This is why they're not medical doctors with a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. This is why they came from Nazi Germany with Operation Paperclip to thank their American liberators by turning America Nazi and destroying it and burning it to the ground. I warned you, I do the videos, you don't care, you don't listen, you don't believe. And then get it from people who are experts in the field, and you say fake news. And so Utah, we will not be vaccinated. We will not vaccinate our kids. I do not want my kid being mentally retarded with autism. Are you sure it's not the Magna water? There was supposedly a study that was going to test that. What happened to that study? We are all doomed, literally, dear God. And so, yes, parents were stopping the vaccination of their kids. My kids will not be vaccinated. And consequences follow. And children die when they all grow up. Or when they're children. Because they were not vaccinated. That would have saved their lives. And so thus, I don't worry about getting measles, where you do. And now Utah has their first case, and where do you think it started from? Utah County. Yep, Utah County. It's just a long video. 7:30, huh? Everybody's still laughing at Mike Lee as he's running away. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I took it down. I'm no longer a hater person. I'm not to blame. Leave me alone. Religious freedom. Church is true. Everybody hates you, Mike Lee. That's what you get for being a true Mormon. And so I'm also frustrated with the news who are misleading their viewers about how courts are supposed to be done in accordance with the constitutional law. Everybody who is accused is supposed to have defense. Everybody who's accused is supposed to be considered innocent until proven guilty by a jury of their peers in a court of law. So what the bleeping hell are their hearings to state your plea? But time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, especially now under social media, where the news also wants to join social media with response videos, where a person is accused of a crime and everybody's outraged, or they love him now and they want to bear his baby. And they go before a judge to plead. How do you plead? What the bleeping hell? Where's that in the Constitution? It's not. Let's go to trial. It's supposed to be speedy. Quit delaying the speedy trial. You've got all of these ways to delay a speedy trial that not only hurts the prosecution, but also hurts the defense. Trump, yeah, he manipulates it to delay a speedy trial. He knows how to rig the system. And so Chris Brown is the latest, as we've had a number of them this year alone already, is pleading not guilty. No duh. And the news is shocked and horrified. But he's accused of rape. How dare he plead not guilty? Can't he accept responsibility for his actions? Oh my God. Oh my. Oh, this has been a very long day, and I crashed 2 times already. Bill, why do you have to be so good? I saw Trump wearing his MAGA cap, and I don't know if anybody catches on to this, because when Trump was in presidency again, for the second coming of 47, he then teased the deep state Dem press by saying, yeah, we're thinking about running for a 3rd term. The deep state Dems put out the panic call. Oh, that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. That's illegal. Notice the cap. $45, not and, but a dash. $47. He's already in his 3rd term. Because he never accepted the results of the 2020 election. And so in his mind, he was the official president for 46. And it shows on the cap. And the deep state Dems aren't catching on. And so 2028, oh dear God, would be a 4th term for Trump. Oh my hell. Islamic terrorists have gotten into the UK military, destroying their planes. They are not pro-Palestinian. They're terrorists for Islam. The news needs to report this correctly. And so, with the release of that Memon Khalil, they said justice prevailed. Both sides say that when they win. Justice did not prevail. If you were to report the news accurately, so, at the Dodger game of controversy, forbidding ICE from entering the grounds, and ICE is denying it. No, you weren't there. Well, here's the video footage of you trying to enter into their property. No, no, no. The singer of the national anthem, Neza, I guess she's called, singer. I am unfamiliar with her songs. She's a newbie, I guess. I don't have radio anymore to hear about the new songs that emerge. Ooh, who is this guy? Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you go, never gonna say goodbye and desert you. I don't know if the words are right to the lyrics of the song, but it sounds good anyway. Together forever and never to back. So who is this guy? Who is he? He's new. Ooh, Metallica, a new album. Oh, Benson says don't listen to them. Well, bleep Benson, I'm going to buy the cassette and listen to it every single night for bed on my cassette player. Master of puppets, pulling your strings, twisting your mind as fast as your dreams. She was forced to defend singing the anthem in Spanish. She should have just said, I sang the national anthem. What the hell is wrong with you? You know, when you go to a hockey game up in Canada with an American team, they sing both anthems. One for the Canadians, one for the Americans. She's an American, singing the American national anthem. Who gives a bleep what language it's in? It's the American national anthem. Leave the Dodgers alone. They're called Dodgers for a reason. They were originally the Brooklyn Dodgers. Sandy Koufax. And so, Ozempic. I mean, dear God, I can do a whole video on this. It had to do with the 80s attacks on women, led by psychologists who had told commercial companies to do commercials to attack women, to sell their products to women. You're ugly, women. Buy our beauty products and look natural. You're too white. Buy our tanning solution. And Trump is orange. You're too fat, women. You're too skinny, women. You need to deform and mutilate your body, women. Men won't love you. Change your hair color, women. Change your appearance. I was so upset as a teenage boy, as they're trying to tell me who I'm supposed to like. Bleep you, I know exactly who I like, and she's not interested. But yeah, I saw my childhood peers telling me about how they wanted what psychologist was telling them they're supposed to want. And I'm going, really? Okay. So what do you like, Travis? Oh, look, squirrel. I can't talk about it with them. And that's what they were doing. Trying to get guys to confess that they're gay. Oh, are you gay? And you have bullying on two different tactics. You have the ones that say, you're gay. You're doing that. That's gay. You like that. That's gay. You're wearing that. That's gay. And then you have the other ones who were a little more subtle, trying to pretend to be your friend and your supporter. Are you gay? You can tell me. I'm not going to judge you. Just confess. It's okay. No judgments. You can tell me. I fully support it. Just go ahead and tell me. Well, I did have a dream about a man's penis. Oh, you are gay. Guess what, guys? This guy's gay. Gotcha. Yeah. There were those kinds of bullies, too. Pretending to be your friend when all they wanted to do was get you to confess to something that you weren't. And so, with these attacks on women got worse, and there were body confidence issues for women, obviously. Women took it hard. Made me cry. And so then the 90s, psychologists attacked in the public school systems. And among all the other abuses that they were doing to human beings and little children, thanking their American liberators, they began telling obese women, unhealthy, unfit women, that they need to have body confidence. And this picked up steam in the 2000s and 2010s. And not too many years ago, they attacked Sports Illustrated, because the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition was always popular. And these psychologists had convinced housewives to attack the models who are physically fit, athletic, and thus in Sports Illustrated. Modeling for swimsuit makers. And yeah, they're very expensive. But that's what fashion models do as well. The fashion designer, his works are expensive. But then you have the JCPenney's, Kohl's, other big name brand stores that sell the knockoff brands of those fashion stuff. And so instead of Prada, it's Prodo. I think only women would know that joke, and women don't watch my channel. And so, yes, the regular American housewife, woman, can't afford the exceedingly rich designer stuff. That's for the celebrities at the Oscars, or for the first ladies. The first lady is wearing, Gwyneth Paltrow is wearing. And so, yes, they'd have the model runway fashion stuff, because I'm all over this. But I can't tell anybody because I'd be bullied. I can't tell people I like women. Okay? And so these evil psychologists have got it into the minds of housewives to attack. And so, like Sports Illustrated, you must have obese, unfit, unhealthy women models. And they did it. And I'm so upset. Just like the anti-vaxxer movement, just like all the other Tide Pod challenges, they got you. And I think even Oprah got suckered in as she failed Weight Watchers. And then tried to do a body confidence, and then went back to being healthy again. As we don't want girls to be athletic as little kids, to be exercising as little kids. Putting the Mormon girls into music to entertain as ethnic rather than being active and fit as a little girl. And Mormons should know this from the Word of Wisdom if they only read it, if they'd only pay attention in the temple. Health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity through all generations of time and throughout all eternity. To run and not be weary, walk and not faint. The word of wisdom is not about what you can't put in your body. It's about what you are to put in your body and to also exercise. That was not as much of an issue back in the 1830s or Joseph Smith's time. It is now. There's more of a sedentary lifestyle available now. But I still fight it because I know I have to. My health is dependent on it. And nonetheless, the attack is out. Already talked about Alyssa Greenfield, Flown, National Guard, Phantom, Point of No Return. Could be the theme song, but I'm also thinking about Prince America. Okay. And then tonight, a Reagan judge ruled that Trump is a racist. Wow, what a shock. We never knew that before. Yeah, what Trump is doing is designed as racist. I told you. What did you think America First meant? Oh, dear God. And you'd think the Democrats would have remembered their KKK past. Pre-World War II. Dear God. And so, yeah, with this Iranian war now, Israel is still kicking butt. They are awesome. You don't mess with them. I don't think the church realized how awesome they are militarily. Just like they don't expect the Jewish Christ to ever show. But nonetheless, they still manage to fulfill their self-fulfilling prophecies. But yeah, again, just like with Hamas, just like with Hezbollah, just like with the Houthi, just like with the Taliban, everybody, Israel always goes after the leaders, goes after the military. And yet, they always put the civilians, the women and children, the wounded, caused by them, and the refugees, to be on the front lines. And so the news only reports that and doesn't cover when Israel saved some of their hostages or found that they were murdered or took out the military leadership. The press doesn't want to cover that. And yet, time and time again, every single time, it's just sickening that nobody wants to be honest and integritous. And so the Organization for Islamic Cooperative had a meeting to again unite against Israel. There was already a previous one not too long ago, and yet you need to be alert on this. When there's a gathering of Islam, you need to be alert on this. They're already terrorists. And so, yeah, Mahmoud Khalil, he's out on bail, and yet he's now saying, I'm going to go right back to threatening death to America as an Islamic terrorist. He hasn't learned his lesson. Being free on bail, he thinks he's now justified in violating the freedom of speech guaranteed in the First Amendment. And here's another thing you need to be paying attention to. We have B-2 bombers being sent to Guam. We already had, and we're sending more. Can anybody say China? Can anybody say Taiwan? Pay attention. It's all about to hit the fan. Because people are not making deals with Trump. Not making deals.